Welcome to a new episode of the Dragon's Lair. This is the second part of my top 10 G.I. Joe figures. Today will be my top 10 Cobra with 4 honorable mentions. And just as yesterday's video, my figures don't have the weapons on them. So, I want to thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. I will be doing the top 10 Cobra, and then tomorrow I'll be doing the top 10 Cobra allies, which include the Dreadnoks and the Iron Grenadier. And then after that, at some point, probably next week, I'll be doing a video on my Hess collection. And probably of the Dungeon Crate, because that should be here next week too. So, but let's get started. Let's do the top 4 honorable mentions. The first one, number 1 for the top 4 is Night Viper, because Night Scope. He actually just comes with cool weapons, and he's kind of cool, a Cobra, having a nighttime infiltrator, since it took him so long, because G.I. Joe always had low light, so it didn't happen until 89, 90. So, but Night Viper's cool. I like his weapons. I like his visor that has the night scope on it. So, I mean, he's cool, and he's a unique army builder for the Cobra troops. The Vipers, because the Vipers are just cool. They're the upgraded replacements for the Cobra troopers and Cobra officers. So, they're basically Cobra's grunts. I think they're more, yeah, they're grunts. Techno Viper, because of all the cool stuff he comes with and the abilities he has. And then Heat Viper. Come on, Cobra Bazooka Soldier. Mind you, they could have done the bazooka a little bit better, but I just like the idea that he has his bazooka bullets on his foot pegs, on his boots. That's just cool. And he is a cool figure. I wish they would have just did the helmet a little bit better. The helmet, I'm not too really impressed with the face mask, the head mold. But let's get started with the top 10. Number 10 is Serpentor. I know that he wasn't well liked in the cartoons, but I actually liked him in the comics. I thought he was a better character in the comics than he was in the cartoons. And I liked the miniature. I liked that he came with a... It looks like a dagger, but I think it was supposed to be a gladius, because that's kind of what the modern figure came with, was a gladius. And I liked his air chariot. That was just a cool vehicle. And every so often I would put Cobra Commander on it. But I mean, Serpentor, to me, is a cool character. I think he was a lot better in the comics. The figure was well done. So, next, as you know from my last video, that I like the ninjas. So yes, there's going to be a couple ninjas in here. But I liked the Night Creeper leader. I like that they went in a different direction than what the Dick cartoon is, than taking a Night Creeper and just putting a different head on him. I like that they made a whole different figure. And I'm not sure, I can't remember if the Night Creeper leaders ever made a comic book appearance, but I know the Night Creepers did. But I like the Night Creeper leader version 2 a lot better than the first one. For the simple reason, I think the first one was just too bright, too neon. But I like the purple and the gold. That, and I also live in Washington State, and purple and gold were my high school colors as well as my first alumni in college. So, I mean, um, but I like the weapons he came with. He came with swords, claws, and stuff. Um, Moving on to number 8 is the Crimson Guard. Just because they're the Crimson Guard, they're the elite foot soldiers. And technically, you could say that they are just an ally of Cobra, because the Crimson Twins are their own separate organization because of ARBCO and Extensive Enterprises, whichever one you follow. And the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Xamot, have their own vehicles. They have the Crimson Hiss with the MMS. They have the Cat 2. So, I mean, they did have their own vehicles. So you could technically say that they are an ally. But for this purpose, they're part of their Cobra troops. Oh, I just noticed that part of my symbol is rubbed off. But I liked them. I liked them when I first got them. I always thought they were cool. I actually got these before I got the Tomax and Xamot figures. And I think I got Tomax and Xamot for my birthday, if I remember right. I know I got the Vamp Mark II for a birthday present. I think I got Tomax and Xamot the following year as a birthday present too. So the Crimson Guards are number 8. Number 7 is Ninja Viper. I don't have the Ninja Viper miniature. I never sent away for him, so I never got him. And I do want him. So at some point I will purchase him and add him to my collection. He is one of the 35 figures that I am missing. But I like him just because he's a aqua blue version of Storm Shadow, and he comes with just 2 silver swords. So that is kind of cool. And if you want to, like I do, you could always buy extra Storm Shadow weapons done in silver plastic, like reproduction, and give it to him just as extra weapons. Because he is a ninja. But I do like the Ninja Viper. Number 5 is Bats. No, number 6. Number 6 is Bats. Because the Bats are cool. The Battle Android Troopers. How can you go wrong with robots on the battlefield? So, I mean, and the idea of his arm coming off and you can put it on the blowtorch or the gun, the machine gun, or the claw. So, or if you buy the Super 7 reaction figures, you can give them a gun like they do in the cartoons. Number 5 is one of my favorite Vipers of all time. The Alley Viper. Yes, I know that he's blue and orange, and he's not really urban colors, but I just like the idea that there's an urban Cobra unit with shields and guns and a backpack that has like a crossbow, powered crossbow and stuff on it. And it looks like I need to replace this O-ring at some point because he's starting to get loose. But I've liked Alley Viper since they came out in '89. So I think '89. And I like the idea that there's a Cobra symbol on his helmet, on his visor. So I mean, I just think he's cool, and I do like all the other versions up to 2000. I'll do a video later on my interpretations and hatred and like of the second generation figures. And the modern, I do the modern and the vintage, or the modern and the retro figures, but I only do the ones that are representative of the vintage. So I will be selling some of my modern figures later once I get them all fixed up and what weapons they go to. Because I'm only going to keep the modern figures of the ones that are representative of the vintage sets. So moving on from that, here is the next one, number 4. Firefly. How can you not like the Serpentor? He came with a backpack with tools and explosives, and he came with a machine gun that, for the longest time as a kid, I always thought was a portable flamethrower. And he came with a detonator that kind of looked like a old-fashioned, well, more or less a cell phone, back when cell phones were just, when they were still bricks and stuff, back in the early 80s and mid 80s. But his looks more like a retro flip phone from the late 80s, which is cool. But he's also gray camouflage. How can you not like that? But I like the idea of Firefly because in the cartoons, never took his mask off. He was always the unknown. Serpentor, nobody knew anything about him. And in the comics, he was more or less like that. And I do have to say one good thing about the live-action G.I. Joe movies. The guy that played Firefly, the actor that played in Rome and Punisher Warzone, I think did an excellent job of playing Firefly. He just took his mask off too many times, but I think he played Firefly really well. That's it for the live-action G.I. Joe movies. I'll probably do a review on those later because I've seen all three, and they're G.I. Joe movies. Okay, number 3 is my favorite Cobra Commander, the Hooded Cobra Commander. Mine's got a lot of wear and paint rub because it's the Hasbro's gold paint, which was terrible. But I've always liked the Hooded Cobra Commander. I did send away for him, and I got him. This is my original one. Basically, it's just the Cobra Commander with just the hood, but he was just cooler than I thought with the Battle Face Cobra Commander or the Battle Armor Cobra Commander. Number 2 is the Baroness, because she just played a really cool character. Was a really cool character in the original movie, and yes, it took us until 1997 to get a blue version of the Baroness. And in the comics, she was major asset for Cobra. And I do like the black outfit. It is kind of cool. She's just cool. I liked the female characters in the G.I. Joes. Like I said yesterday, they did great detail background creation for each of the female characters because they're few and far between. There's not a lot of them. So I mean, and my number 1 Cobra figure is, of course, this this Storm Shadow. The only Storm Shadow I did not like more was really of the vintage collection was the Ninja Force. I was not a big fan of the Ninja Force. I think if they would not have put the spring-loaded arms and spring-loaded waist in them and made them the these O-ring type things, I think they would have been good. Especially the way the Snake Eyes and the Scarlet molds were. They were terrible. And unfortunately, they used those same molds for the Street Fighter figures. at least for the movie ones, because the Chun-Li, yeah, I think those were the movie ones, weren't they? I believe so. If not, but one of the Chun-Li models was the Scarlet mold with a different head. But I liked this Storm Shadow because he was the first ninja in the GI Joe collection, and he came with a backpack that had the bow, the nunchucks, the ninja toe, and the wakizashi. Um, and he was a cool character in the comics. I think they did a lot better job in the comics with him, portraying him with Snake Eyes and making that bond there. Um, and yes, I do. If anybody asks, I do have the 3-figure comic book set where they were the LRRP Vietnam figures. I do have Snake Eyes, Tommy, and Stalker. So, and they stay in their own separate bag with their weapons with them. But yeah, that's my number one Cobra. Um, so stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, which will contain the third and final episode, which of this little series, the top 10 Cobra allies. So if you haven't already, follow my link below to my website. Subscribe, tell your friends, have them check it out. Look at my past videos because I did do GI Joe reviews a couple years ago before I got out of YouTube videos, and then after I got back in. I've only been back in it for about maybe 2 years now. Actually, so it's probably about 4 years since I've done the G.I. Joe review. So go check those out. You can check out any of my videos. Tell your friends, subscribe, leave comments. So thank you, and have a good day, and see you all tomorrow.